The wind howled a mournful song through the skeletal pines as Jasper, Elena, and Kai ventured deeper into the Blackwood Barrens. Jasper, the seasoned tracker, navigated by map and compass, his usual confidence dampened by an unsettling quietude. Elena, the botanist, documented the unique flora with meticulous notes, a growing unease gnawing at her. Kai, the free spirit of the group, skipped ahead, captivated by the rugged beauty of the desolate landscape. Legends whispered of the Howling Lake, a cursed body of water nestled within the barrens. The stories spoke of a vengeful spirit trapped within its depths, luring the unwary with its haunting cries. Dismissive of folklore, they pressed on, their thirst for adventure outweighing their trepidation. As dusk settled, casting long, inky shadows across the rocky terrain, they stumbled upon a clearing. In its center lay the Howling Lake, its surface an unnatural stillness, reflecting the dying embers of the setting sun. An unsettling silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the occasional crackle of dead branches underfoot. Elena, her brow furrowed in concentration, knelt beside the lake's edge. The water, unlike any she'd encountered before, shimmered with an unnatural luminescence. "This is strange," she murmured, her voice barely a whisper. Suddenly, a blood-curdling howl erupted from the lake's depths. It echoed through the barrens, a chilling symphony of pain and rage. They recoiled in terror, a primal fear gripping their hearts. The howl was followed by a cacophony of unsettling sounds, whispers, moans, and the gnashing of unseen teeth. Kai, his bravado shattered, fumbled for his phone, his fingers trembling as he attempted to call for help. But there was no signal, the barrens a desolate wasteland beyond the reach of civilization. Jasper, a knot of dread tightening in his stomach, remembered a forgotten legend. The spirit could be appeased with an offering of something precious. He quickly unbuckled his prized pocket watch, a family heirloom passed down for generations. With a heavy heart, he tossed it into the lake. The howls intensified, reaching a fever pitch before abruptly ceasing. The unnatural luminescence faded, replaced by a disturbing calm. An unnatural mist rose from the surface, swirling into a grotesque figure with glowing eyes and a skeletal form. "You dare disturb my slumber," it boomed, its voice a chorus of the unsettling sounds they had heard moments before. An offering. Amusing. Panic surged through them. The watch, they realized, wasn't enough. The spirit craved something far more precious, a life force. It lunged towards Kai, its skeletal hands reaching out with a chilling hunger. Elena, fueled by a desperate need to protect her friend, grabbed a fallen branch and shoved it into the spirit's path. The branch ignited in a burst of flames, momentarily distracting the entity. Jasper, seizing the opportunity, tackled Kai out of the way, a desperate plan forming in his mind. He ripped open his backpack, revealing a vial of his most prized discovery, a rare glowing moss specimen he had spent years searching for. With a final desperate prayer, he hurled the vial at the spirit. The glowing moss erupted in a blinding light, bathing the clearing in an ethereal glow. The spirit shrieked in fury, its form dissolving into wisps of darkness that were sucked back into the lake. Silence descended upon the barrens, broken only by the ragged gasps of the shaken trio. As dawn painted the sky a hopeful orange, they emerged from the clearing, forever marked by their encounter with the Howling Lake. The barrens remained a desolate wilderness, but now held a chilling new meaning, a stark reminder of the price one must pay for disturbing the slumber of the ancient and the forgotten. The scent of pine and damp earth filled Maya's lungs as she adjusted her pack. The Appalachian Trail stretched before them, a ribbon of wilderness promising a digital detox and reconnection with her estranged sister, Jenna. Their relationship had been fractured for years, a chasm widened by social media's curated realities. Maya, with her perfectly posed photos and envy-inducing captions, couldn't reconcile that image with the troubled Jenna she remembered. The hike started well. They reminisced about childhood adventures, a fragile truce hanging in the air. As dusk approached, the dense canopy swallowed the remaining sunlight. The path narrowed, and an unsettling silence descended, broken only by the sighing wind whispering through the pines. Fear, a prickling unease, snaked down Maya's spine. Then he stumbled upon it, a deserted ranger station, its windows boarded shut, paint peeling like leprous skin. A sense of foreboding hung heavy, a stark contrast to Maya's filtered online world. But with the approaching storm, they had no choice. Inside, the air hung thick with dust and the scent of decay. Moonlight filtered through cracks in the boarded windows, casting grotesque shadows that danced on the walls. As they unpacked their meager supplies, a low rhythmic creaking echoed through the building, sending shivers down their spines. Maya whipped out her phone, but there was no signal. Another unwelcome disconnect from her curated reality. Night deepened, and the whispering wind outside morphed into something more sinister. It seemed to speak their names, laced with a chilling malice. Sleep was a distant dream. Jenna, her eyes wide with a haunted look, confessed a childhood incident, a night spent lost in these woods, hearing the same whispers, feeling a presence she couldn't explain. Maya, ever the pragmatist, dismissed it as a childhood fear, but a seed of doubt had been sown. The next morning, the storm raged outside. Trapped indoors, tensions flared. Maya criticized Jenna's social media habits, her scathing words echoing in the confined space. Jenna lashed back, accusing Maya of hiding behind a facade. The argument escalated, dredging up old wounds and buried resentments. As the storm reached its peak, the darkness inside the station began to writhe. Shadows took on monstrous shapes, fueled by their deepest fears. Maya saw distorted versions of her online followers, their admiring comments morphing into mocking jeers. Jenna was surrounded by phantoms from her past, her face contorted in a silent scream. Panic seized them. They stumbled toward the boarded windows, clawing at the wood, desperate to escape the suffocating darkness and the unseen entity feeding on their discord. But the whispers grew louder, a horrifying chorus urging them to turn on each other. Just as despair threatened to consume them, a memory surfaced in Maya's mind, a childhood game they used to play, a silly secret code only they knew. In a shaky voice, she whispered the code, a beacon of shared history cutting through the darkness. The shadows recoiled, the whispers faltered. As the storm subsided, a fragile peace settled between them. They emerged from the ranger station, forever marked by their ordeal. The whispers still lingered in the pines, a chilling reminder, but they faced them together, a bond reforged in the crucible of fear. The digital detox became a permanent change. Maya curated her life less, focusing on the real connections, the ones forged in the face of darkness. Jenna, with Maya's support, sought help for her demons. The whispering pines held a terrible secret, but for the sisters, it had also become a symbol of their hard-won reconciliation, a testament to the strength found in facing their fears, not alone, but together. The crisp mountain air invigorated Mark as he adjusted his pack. Cairn Lake, a legendary backcountry gem, awaited them. This wasn't just a hike. It was an escape. Mark, burdened by a recent demotion and a strained marriage, yearned for the camaraderie and challenge of the trail. Joining him were Sarah, a skilled doctor with a passion for adventure, Liam, a tech whiz constantly glued to his devices, and Tro, a free spirit seeking solace in nature. The initial leg was exhilarating. Lush forests gave way to rocky slopes, the panorama unfolding like a breathtaking canvas. But as day waned, their well-worn map seemed to disagree with the terrain. Dismissing it as an outdated version, they pressed on. Liam, ever the optimist, assured them his GPS would guide them. But as darkness fell, the signals sputtered and died. Lost and disoriented, a cold dread settled in. The once familiar path had vanished, replaced by an unsettling maze of identical trees and monolithic rock formations. Mark, the natural leader, tried to maintain order, but unease gnawed at the group. Sarah, haunted by memories of a past climbing accident where she froze, became withdrawn. Liam, his bravado fading, frantically refreshed his dead phone, his social media silence a source of mounting panic. Tro, usually at ease in the wilderness, felt an oppressive watchfulness, a sense of being unseen but observed. Nightmares plagued their fitful sleep. Sarah dreamed of the accident, the blame from her team echoing in her ears. Mark dreamed of his wife, her voice laced with disappointment. Liam dreamed of a sea of mocking faces, his follower count plummeting. Tro dreamed of a monstrous figure lurking in the trees, its form shifting with each glimpse. Waking with a jolt, they found the landscape eerily altered. The towering pines now seemed to contort into menacing shapes, mirroring their anxieties. Mark, consumed by self-doubt, questioned his leadership. Sarah, convinced they were being punished, became erratic. Liam, desperate for connection, fabricated stories of a signal and imminent rescue. Tro, increasingly isolated, felt a growing urge to flee, to escape whatever was twisting their reality. Tensions flared. Accusations flew. The entity, feeding on their discord, manipulated their memories, creating conflicting narratives. Had they ever been on the same trail? Did they even know each other? The very fabric of their reality began to unravel. Just as despair threatened to engulf them, Tro, her connection with nature strong, noticed a faint, familiar bird call. It was a local bird, not found in this region, according to Liam's now unreliable app. Hope flickered. Following the call, they stumbled upon a barely discernible marker, an old moss-covered cairn. A collective memory sparked. It was from the forgotten map. With renewed purpose, they navigated by the cairns, a silent language understood by a deeper instinct. The entity raged, distorting the landscape in a final attempt to break them. But they persevered, their shared fear replaced by a fierce determination. Finally, they emerged from the tree line, Cairn Lake shimmering in the morning light. Relief washed over them, but they were forever changed. The ordeal had stripped them bare, revealing their vulnerabilities, but also forging an unbreakable bond. Back in civilization, they couldn't explain the missing days, the warped memories. The entity's hold weakened with distance, but a chilling certainty lingered. The wilderness held secrets, and some forces were best left undisturbed. They returned to their lives, forever marked by their encounter, a silent pact binding them, a reminder of the horror they faced, not alone, but together. Eva, a student filmmaker with a hunger for the unconventional, led her crew. Ben, the skeptical sound engineer, Erin, the wide-eyed researcher, and Lucas, the thrill-seeking cameraman, deep into the uncharted wilderness of Hollow Creek. Their mission, to document a reclusive community rumored to practice ancient rituals. The journey was arduous, the dense forest pressing in on them with each step. Erin, fueled by local legends of a powerful spirit guardian, devoured dusty journals, her excitement infectious. Ben, ever the pragmatist, scoffed at the folklore, his unease growing with the thickening canopy. Lucas, a thrill-seeker, craved the chance to capture something truly groundbreaking on film. After days of searching, they stumbled upon a hidden clearing, a cluster of ramshackle cabins nestled amidst towering redwoods, an eerie silence blanketing the scene. Ava, her heart pounding with anticipation, approached cautiously. A wizened elder emerged, his eyes glinting with suspicion. Despite the language barrier, Erin's passionate explanations about their documentary project seemed to appease him. Hesitantly, he granted them permission to film, his warnings about respecting the land and ancient ways lost in translation. Intrigued, the crew began filming. The rituals they witnessed were unlike anything they'd seen. Cryptic chants, offerings of strange herbs, and symbols etched into the bark of trees. Ava, consumed by her ambition, pushed the boundaries, filming deeper into the forbidden groves. Ben's warnings fell on deaf ears, his skepticism morphing into dread as the forest itself seemed to react. The once vibrant flora wilted, the air thick with an oppressive silence. One night, fueled by Erin's translations of forbidden texts, Lucas, captivated by the occult, dared to capture the entity on film. He ventured into the heart of the forbidden grove. Camera rolling. A guttural roar shattered the night. Lucas stumbled back, his camera falling silent. The next morning, he was gone. Panic seized the group. Their fascination had turned into a horrifying reality. The once welcoming elder now radiated fury. Through Erin's frantic translations, they learned they'd awakened a territorial spirit, its wrath unleashed by their disrespect. The forest itself became their prison, the paths they once knew vanishing, replaced by a labyrinth of twisted branches and mocking whispers. Days blurred into a desperate fight for survival. Ben, his skepticism replaced by a primal fear, used his sound expertise to track the unseen entity. Ava, guilt gnawing at her, realized the cost of her ambition. Erin, her fascination turning to terror, found solace in forgotten prayers. In a final desperate act, Ben used the amplified sounds of the forest itself, the crackling of leaves, the screech of unseen birds, to create a cacophony that disoriented the entity. Ava, fueled by a newfound respect for the land, pleaded for forgiveness, offering them as storytellers to spread the word of the spirit's power, not exploit it. A tense silence followed. Then the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The forest, as if mollified, revealed a barely discernible path leading out. They emerged, shaken but alive, forever marked by their encounter. Their documentary footage, filled with static and distorted images, offered no proof of the entity, only a chilling reminder of the power they'd unleashed and the importance of respecting the secrets held within the wilderness. The scent of decay hung heavy in the air as Ethan, a seasoned park ranger with a weathered face and haunted eyes, ventured deeper into Lost Valley. A young hiker had vanished days ago, and Ethan, driven by a personal vendetta against letting another life be claimed by the wilderness, was determined to find him. Lost Valley wasn't on any official maps. It was a place whispered about in hushed tones by locals, a hidden scar on the pristine landscape of the national park. Legends spoke of a cursed valley, a place where nature itself had turned malevolent. Ethan, a man of reason, scoffed at the folklore. But the oppressive silence of the valley, broken only by the unsettling chirping of unseen insects, sent shivers down his spine. The initial beauty of the valley, a lush tapestry of ferns and towering redwoods, began to curdle as he ventured deeper. Twisted vines choked the trees, their vibrant colors replaced by sickly yellows and sickly greens. The air grew thick with a fetid stench, a sickly sweet perfume that cloyed in his throat. Then he saw them. Creatures, once majestic deer, now warped parodies of life. Their bodies were grotesquely bloated, their eyes milky and vacant. The stench intensified, a tangible manifestation of their corrupted existence. A primal fear, cold and sharp, gripped Ethan. His radio crackled to life. Dr. Amelia Brooks, a brilliant but abrasive biologist stationed at the park's research outpost, confirmed his suspicions. Lost Valley was the unintended consequence of a decades-old experiment, a failed attempt to combat an invasive plant species with a genetically modified fungus. The fungus had mutated, warping the valley's ecosystem and turning its inhabitants into grotesque parodies of life. As Ethan pressed on, the valley seemed to adapt. The mutated creatures, driven by a warped predator instinct, became more aggressive. The once lush vegetation morphed into grasping vines, seeking to ensnare him. Memories of his past, a climbing accident that claimed his partner, Sarah, surfaced, fueled by the valley's insidious influence. Trapped in a waking nightmare, Ethan fought for survival. But the true horror wasn't the mutated creatures. It was the realization that the valley wasn't actively malevolent. It was simply a twisted ecosystem, a horrific testament to human interference. In a desperate bid for escape, Ethan used the very mutations against themselves. Luring a pack of the grotesque deer towards a particularly dense patch of the mutated vines, he triggered a chain reaction. The grasping vines, mistaking the creatures for prey, ensnared them, their mutated forms adding to the grotesque tapestry of the valley. Exhausted and wounded, Ethan stumbled out of Lost Valley, forever marked by his ordeal. The valley remained a silent scar on the landscape, a chilling reminder of the price of unchecked human ambition. Dr. Brooks' voice crackled over the radio, laced with a newfound respect. The valley couldn't be purged, but its borders would be strictly patrolled, a monument to a cautionary tale. Ethan, forever haunted by the experience, became a living testament to the horror that lurked within the seemingly serene embrace of the wilderness. Dax, a charismatic wilderness instructor with a dazzling smile that hid a web of financial woes, led his team. Riley, the stoic survival expert; Harper, the social media influencer with a thirst for online validation; and Noah, the quiet observer burdened by family expectations, on a remote training exercise in the fabled Siren Pines. Legends whispered of a place where dreams manifested, a paradise or a nightmare depending on your heart's desires. The initial beauty of the pine forest was undeniable. Towering trees, dappled sunlight, and the crisp mountain air created a scene straight out of an Instagram filter. Harper, never one to miss a photo opportunity, documented their journey with manic enthusiasm. Riley, ever the pragmatist, dismissed the local legends, while Noah, with his introspective nature, felt an unsettling pull towards the woods. As night fell, they huddled around a crackling fire, sharing stories and anxieties. Dax, his usual bravado fading, revealed his gambling problem, the weight of his secret threatening to crush him. Riley confided in Noah about her climbing accident, the guilt of leaving her partner behind a festering wound. Harper, her phone devoid of signal, felt a gnawing panic, the lack of online validation a terrifying withdrawal symptom. Sleep, when it came, was a treacherous affair. Dax dreamed of a luxurious casino, easy wins masking a darker truth. Riley found herself back on the treacherous mountain face, the wind howling in her ears as her partner slipped from her grasp. Harper woke to a sea of admiring comments on a viral post, only to realize it was a cruel fabrication of her own mind. Noah dreamed of a perfect family reunion, only to be jolted awake by the chilling realization that something was terribly wrong. The next day, the forest seemed different. The sunlight cast long, unsettling shadows. Dax, emboldened by his dream, led them deeper into the woods, convinced he could find a hidden valley rumored to hold a lost gold mine, a potential solution to his financial woes. Riley, haunted by her dream, became withdrawn and erratic. Harper, desperate for a connection, fabricated stories of a mystical spring that granted wishes. Noah, increasingly isolated, felt a growing suspicion that the forest was manipulating them. As tensions rose, the dreams intensified. Dax found himself trapped in a gambling den, the stakes rising with each hand. Riley relived the climbing accident, this time unable to reach for her falling partner. Harper's fabricated stories morphed into a terrifying reality, the wishing spring leading them to a treacherous swamp. Noah, finally understanding the danger, tried to warn them, but his pleas fell on deaf ears, consumed by their fabricated desires. In a desperate attempt to break the hold of the forest, Noah used his knowledge of wilderness survival to create a bonfire, a beacon of light and reason against the encroaching darkness. One by one, the others stumbled towards the fire, their dreams fading as the harsh reality of the forest set in. They emerged from the silent pines, forever changed. The experience had stripped them bare, revealing their vulnerabilities, but also forging a fragile bond. The online world seemed utterly meaningless now. They returned to their lives, carrying the chilling memory of the silent pines, a testament to the dangers of succumbing to our deepest desires, a reminder that true horror can lurk not just in the wilderness, but within ourselves. The wind howled across the desolate peaks of Bone Ridge, a place shrouded in legend and rumored to hold the secrets of an ancient civilization. Dr. Evelyn Wright, a seasoned archaeologist with a glint of obsession in her eyes, led her team. Liam, the cautious graduate student, Aisha, the brilliant historian with a troubled past, and Kai, the tech whiz with a thirst for online recognition, to a newly discovered cave system. The initial excitement was palpable. Artifacts, pristine and untouched for millennia, adorned the cavern walls. Deeper within, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber. In its center lay a chillingly beautiful obsidian mask, its surface etched with symbols that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. Aisha, her voice laced with unease, recognized the symbols from forbidden texts, a language associated with dark rituals and a vengeful spirit said to guard the secrets of the mountain. Evelyn, fueled by ambition, dismissed the warnings, eager to claim this discovery for herself. As she donned the mask, the cavern trembled. A wave of chilling energy swept through them, and the once pristine cave walls began to contort, morphing into grotesque visages. The descent into chaos was swift. Liam, his past climbing accident triggered by the tremors, became withdrawn and paranoid. Aisha, burdened by the weight of her ancestors' role in exploiting the land, felt a growing sense of dread. Kai, his technology rendered useless by the strange energy, succumbed to a primal fear, documenting their descent into madness on a dying camera. Evelyn, the mask fused to her face, became increasingly erratic. The spirit, awakened by her desecration, began to manipulate them. Unearthed secrets from their pasts were weaponized. Liam was haunted by visions of his fall, his self-doubt paralyzing him. Aisha was forced to confront the cruelty of her forefathers. Kai's darkest insecurities were laid bare, his online persona crumbling. The once pristine landscape reflected the growing darkness within. The treacherous mountains seemed to close in on them, paths vanishing, the wind carrying chilling whispers in an unknown tongue. As they fought for survival, they realized that true horror wasn't just the vengeful spirit, but the darkness it unearthed within themselves. In a desperate act of defiance, Aisha, drawing on her historical knowledge, devised a plan. They needed to appease the spirit, to offer a sacrifice of something precious. Kai, in a moment of courage, smashed his beloved camera, the embodiment of his superficial online life. The spirit, momentarily placated, offered a window of escape. With Liam overcoming his fear to guide them, they navigated the treacherous terrain, the mask finally falling from Evelyn's face, her ambition replaced by a profound sense of remorse. They emerged from Bone Ridge forever marked by their ordeal. The spirit remained, a silent guardian of the mountains. The artifacts were left undisturbed, a stark reminder of the consequences of disturbing the past and the darkness that lurks within the human soul. They returned to their lives, forever bound by their shared experience, a testament to the chilling power of the echoes of Bone Ridge. The air hung thick with the scent of decaying vegetation and the chorus of unseen swamp creatures as Dr. Amelia Green, a veterinarian with eyes that mirrored the unwavering green of the swamp itself, led her team. Noah, the seasoned tracker with a healthy respect for the wilderness, Ava, the wide-eyed volunteer brimming with idealism, and Ben, the cynical biologist scoffing at local legends, on a mission to rescue a rare black owl rumored to be trapped deep within the Black Mire. The swamp was a labyrinth of gnarled cypress trees and murky waterways. The beauty of blooming water lilies was overshadowed by a sense of foreboding. Noah, his weathered face etched with concern, recounted chilling tales of the swamp's hunger, a place where good intentions often led to misfortune. But Amelia, fueled by her unwavering compassion, pressed on, her determination unwavering. They found the owl, majestic but injured, its amber eyes filled with an unsettling intelligence. As Amelia gently tended to its wounds, a primal surge of empathy washed over the group. Ava, her heart overflowing with affection, cradled other injured creatures they encountered along the way. A wounded snake, a disoriented raccoon. Ben, his skepticism crumbling in the face of their genuine concern, joined in, his scientific detachment replaced by a desire to help. But the swamp, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor. The rescued creatures, their injuries miraculously healed by the swamp's unseen power, became grotesquely warped. The owl's once majestic eyes glowed with an unnatural malice. The snake, its scales glistening with an oily sheen, slithered with unnatural speed. The raccoon, its teeth bared in a permanent snarl, became a monstrous parody of its former self. The swamp itself began to react. The once vibrant vegetation morphed into grotesque, carnivorous plants, their tendrils reaching out like grasping claws. The air thrummed with an unseen menace, a chorus of mutated croaks and hisses replacing the symphony of nature. Panic seized them. Ava, her idealism shattered, watched in horror as the creatures she tried to save turned on them. Ben, his cynicism resurfacing, realized their acts of compassion had fueled the swamp's dark power. Noah, his knowledge of the wilderness proving invaluable, led them through treacherous paths, the swamp seemingly closing in with each step. In a desperate bid for escape, Amelia, her compassion twisting into a steely resolve, used the rescued creatures' warped forms against themselves. The mutated snake, lured by the scent of its own kind, was entangled by the grasping vines. The monstrous raccoon, driven by a primal hunger, turned on the owl, its former master. They stumbled out of the black mire, forever marked by their ordeal. The rescued creatures, their twisted forms dissolving into the swamp, served as a chilling reminder. The swamp wasn't malevolent, but it existed in a precarious balance. Their misplaced compassion, their disregard for the natural order, had nearly cost them their lives. Back in civilization, they carried the weight of their experience. Amelia, her unwavering empathy tempered by a newfound respect for the wild, continued her work, but with a newfound understanding of the delicate balance of nature. The Black Mire remained a silent sentinel, its secrets safeguarded, a chilling testament to the unintended consequences of human intervention. The crisp mountain air stung Blake's lungs as he adjusted his pack, a forced smile plastered on his face for the camera. Wailing Ridge, shrouded in local legends of ghostly encounters, was their latest target, a potential goldmine of views for their struggling ghost hunting YouTube channel, Beyond the Unexplained. Joining him were Cho, the skilled camerawoman still grieving the recent loss of her grandmother, Ethan, the skeptical sound engineer with a knack for debunking hoaxes, and Riley, the wide-eyed newcomer desperate to make her mark on the channel. The initial leg of the hike was documented with forced enthusiasm. Blake, his bravado masking a growing anxiety about dwindling subscribers, regaled them with sanitized versions of the local legend. The Whisperers, disembodied voices that mimicked loved ones, luring unsuspecting hikers to their doom. Cho, her eyes red-rimmed, found solace in the solitude of the wilderness, the silence a balm to her grief. Ethan, ever the pragmatist, scoffed at the legend, his focus on recording clean audio. Riley, her phone perpetually out, documented everything for her own social media channels. As dusk settled, the forest transformed. The once familiar path seemed to twist and turn, the towering pines morphing into menacing silhouettes. An unsettling silence descended, broken only by the occasional rustle of unseen creatures. Then it began, a faint whisper, carried on the wind, a voice that sounded eerily similar to Cho's deceased grandmother. Panic seized Chloe. Memories flooded back, the voice a cruel echo of her final goodbye. Blake, ever the opportunist, saw a chance for viral content, urging Chloe deeper into the woods to capture the evidence. Ethan, his skepticism crumbling in the face of Chloe's distress, pleaded with them to return. Riley, caught between loyalty and a growing sense of dread, documented their descent into chaos. The whispers multiplied, each voice a chilling imitation of a loved one. Blake heard his estranged brother, his bravado melting away. Ethan, haunted by the voice of his deceased father, felt a crushing sense of guilt. The forest itself seemed to warp, mirroring their distorted perceptions. In a desperate bid for safety, Ethan, drawing on his knowledge of acoustics, used the natural sounds of the forest to create a cacophony that drowned out the whispers. With a renewed sense of purpose, they retraced their steps, the forest seemingly less menacing in the harsh light of day. They emerged from Wailing Ridge, shaken but alive. The footage, a chilling document of their descent into fear, was deemed unusable, too disturbing, too real. Their channel took a hit, with a newfound respect for the wilderness, and for each other, bloomed. The legend of the Whisperers remained a chilling reminder of the dangers of exploiting grief and the power of suggestion, a cautionary tale whispered on the wind. Back in civilization, the silence felt deafening after the constant hum of the forest. But for them, the whispers lingered, a chilling echo of the ordeal they faced, a testament to the horror that can lurk not just in the wilderness, but within the human psyche. A biting wind whipped around Howling Peak, a desolate mountain shrouded in legend. Brock, a hulking figure with a shaved head and a booming voice, led his team. Maya, the stoic tracker with a distrustful glint in her eyes, Jax, the eager newcomer desperate to prove himself, and Dr. Evelyn Thorne, a reserve biologist studying the mountain's unique flora on a self-filmed expedition for his popular survivalist channel. The climb was arduous. The thin air bit at their lungs, and the unforgiving terrain tested their endurance. Brock, fueled by a need to maintain his alpha male persona, pushed them to their limits, filming their every struggle for his online audience. Maya, her skills honed through years of quiet observation, challenged his methods, drawing his ire and the simmering resentment of Jax, eager to please the leader. As they ascended, a strange unease settled over them. The once vibrant mountain flowers wilted into grotesque parodies of life. The silence of the peak was broken only by the chilling howl of unseen creatures. Dr. Thorne, her initial fascination with the unique flora turning to dread, discovered parasitic spores clinging to their clothing, their origins unknown. The first to succumb was Jax, infected by the spores, his body contorted, his primal survival instincts taking over. He became a ravenous predator, his loyalty to Brock replaced by a primal hunger. Maya, her tracking skills invaluable, discovered a hidden cave filled with the same grotesque flora, pulsating with an unnatural light. It was the source of the spores, a parasitic entity feeding on their fear and survival instincts. Panic erupted. Brock, his confidence shattered, accused Maya of being infected. Jax, driven by the parasite, attacked them both. The harsh mountain environment became a reflection of their growing paranoia. The howling wind echoed their fear, the treacherous slopes mirrored their desperate struggle for survival. In a desperate act of self-preservation, Maya, drawing on her knowledge of the mountain plants, concocted a makeshift antidote from the parasite's own twisted flora. She subdued Jax, the antidote suppressing the parasitic influence. Brock, his fragile ego shattered, became a liability. With a newfound respect for Maya's skills and a shared sense of dread, they managed to descend Howling Peak. The entity remained, a silent threat lurking in the mountain's solitude. The footage, a chilling testament to their ordeal, was deemed too disturbing for public consumption. Back in civilization, they carried the scars of their experience. Brock's online persona crumbled, his toxic masculinity exposed. Maya, forever changed, became a sought-after survival instructor, her unconventional methods now revered. The memory of Howling Peak served as a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that lurk in the wilderness and the primal darkness that resides within us all. Everlost Valley, a forgotten scar on the map, was shrouded in legend. Whispers spoke of a hidden tribe and a language lost to time. Dr. Amelia Vance, a renowned linguist haunted by the unsolved disappearance of her colleague in a similar expedition, led a team. Kai Nakamura, the arrogant phonetics expert, Elena Rodriguez, the eager graduate student, and Thomas, a local guide with a deep-seated fear of the valley, on a research trip to unravel its secrets. The initial beauty of the valley, a tapestry of emerald meadows and cascading waterfalls, was deceptive. An unsettling silence hung in the air, broken only by the chirping of unseen birds. Thomas, his warnings ignored, spoke of a time before the valley became Everlost, a place where the very air held a hidden danger. As they ventured deeper, the landscape seemed to twist and shift. Strange symbols, eerily similar to linguistic scripts, appeared etched on rocks and ancient trees. Kai, his skepticism waning, reluctantly admitted the symbols might be a lost language. Alina, fueled by youthful enthusiasm, attempted to decipher them, her voice echoing eerily in the stillness. The first to succumb was Alina. Her attempts to speak the language morphed into a chilling sing-song. Her eyes glazed over. Memories surfaced, fragmented visions of a lost civilization and a malevolent entity. Dr. Vance, consumed by her obsession, dismissed them as mere stress. But the doubt lingered, a seed sown by the Whispering Valley. The language, it seemed, wasn't just words. It was a living entity. As they ventured deeper, the symbols seemed to writhe and pulsate, the very air humming with a barely perceptible vibration. Kai, his arrogance shattered, felt a growing sense of dread. Thomas, his fear palpable, revealed the true horror. The previous expedition vanished after attempting to speak the language, their identities seemingly absorbed by the valley itself. Desperate to escape, they stumbled upon an ancient temple, its walls adorned with the same symbols. Inside, a chilling discovery awaited them, a mural depicting figures merging with the symbols, their identities dissolving into the language itself. Dr. Vance, on the verge of madness, saw her deceased colleague not as a victim, but as part of the language. She began chanting the symbols, her voice blending with the eerie hum of the valley. Kai, in a desperate bid to save himself, shattered the mural, severing the connection. The valley trembled. The chanting ceased. Dr. Vance, her eyes clear for the first time, collapsed in exhaustion. They fled Everlost Valley, forever marked by their ordeal. Back in civilization, the experience left a deep scar. Dr. Vance, her obsession tempered by a newfound fear, dedicated herself to studying the dangers of lost languages. Kai, humbled, became a cautious researcher. Alina remained a chilling enigma, her fate uncertain. The valley remained a silent sentinel, its secrets safeguarded, a chilling reminder of the power of language and the horror that can lurk within the echoes of the past. Silent Lake, nestled amidst a dense, primeval forest, was shrouded in a veil of mystery. Locals whispered of a gateway to the afterlife, a place where the voices of the living were claimed by the lake's depths, leaving behind only haunting echoes. Dr. Evelyn Wright, a renowned folklorist burdened by the recent loss of her husband, led a research team. Liam O'Connell, the stoic researcher haunted by the disappearance of his sister near a similar lake. Aisha Kapoor, the brilliant historian with a healthy dose of skepticism, and Daniel Flores, the charismatic sound recordist obsessed with capturing the essence of a place, to unravel the lake's secrets. The journey to the lake was arduous. The oppressive silence of the forest was broken only by the unsettling cries of unseen birds. Liam, his face etched with grief, recounted the chilling legend of his sister, her voice seemingly swallowed by a lake not unlike Silent Lake. Aisha, ever the pragmatist, dismissed the stories as mere folklore. As they set up camp on the shores of the lake, its surface an unnervingly still mirror reflecting the twilight sky, an unsettling feeling gnawed at them. Daniel, his usual enthusiasm muted, struggled to capture any sound beyond the unsettling lapping of the water. Evelyn, drawn by an inexplicable pull, felt a connection to the lake, a sense of her lost husband's presence echoing in the stillness. The first to succumb was Liam. Haunted by visions of his sister, he wandered to the water's edge, his voice a desperate plea swallowed by the lake. The remaining members, their initial skepticism replaced by raw fear, found only his discarded research notes beside a single, eerie footprint on the damp earth, a footprint that seemed to defy all logic. Days blurred into nights, the oppressive silence punctuated by the unsettling calls of unseen creatures emerging from the lake's depths. Aisha, her resolve crumbling, felt a growing sense of paranoia. Her reflection in the lake's surface, a distorted, unsettling visage. Daniel, his equipment malfunctioning, became obsessed with capturing the whispers he claimed to hear emanating from the lake itself. Evelyn, driven to the brink by grief and isolation, discovered a hidden cave beneath the lake's surface, accessible only through a submerged tunnel. Inside, she found a chilling tablet, a cavern filled with petrified figures, their expressions etched with a silent scream, their voices forever trapped within the lake. The realization struck her with the force of a blow. The lake wasn't a malevolent entity, but a conduit, a gateway to a realm where the echoes of the dead lingered. Her grief, a tangible force, had drawn her to the lake, threatening to claim her voice as well. With a newfound resolve, she emerged from the cave, determined to escape. Daniel, consumed by his obsession, had vanished, his screams echoing across the lake before being silenced. Aisha, her sanity teetering, stood by the water's edge, her voice a haunting melody merging with the whispers of the lake. Evelyn, tears streaming down her face, grabbed Aisha and dragged her away from the lake's grasp. They stumbled out of the forest, forever marked by their ordeal. The lake remained, a silent sentinel, its secrets safeguarded. Back in civilization, the experience left a deep scar. Evelyn, her grief tempered by a newfound understanding, dedicated herself to studying the dangers of folklore and the power of human memory. Aisha, recovering from her ordeal, wrote a chilling account of their encounter, a testament to the horror that can lurk in the alluring beauty of the natural world. The haunting melody of Silent Lake, a chilling echo of countless voices, remained a constant reminder of their brush with oblivion.